International Convention for the Search and Rescue at Sea, which dates back to 1979, only deals with the rescue that is to be undertaken on the surface. It deals with situations where a cargo vessel, a merchant ship, is in distress. So you go there, you throw lifesavers to the people, you get them on board, and the rescue happens that way. So-called escape and rescue at sea is not a variant of SAR activities. The escape and rescue at sea is a completely different challenge because it deals with pressures underwater, it deals with the remoteness of the operation, the darkness in which these operators need to act in the rescue of people below the surface. For the civilian presence at sea, it would be better to understand what different kinds of activities actually take place, to find the way to homogenize the certifications for the safety of the vehicles themselves, and to find a way to create certainty around the question of who is responsible to intervene when civilians are trapped in the water column or in the seabed. The baseline under the law of the sea, the normal baseline, coincides with the low water mark along the coast. This is the basic rule for the identification of the line from which all maritime spaces are measured. With the rise of sea level, you may imagine that there will be a very radical impact on this line, meaning that the line will move towards the land more and more. And since this line is the line from which we measure maritime spaces, also the outer limits of these spaces will necessarily move with it, together with it. So what some states, for example, Pacific Island states, are trying to do, and I see very strong support in the international community in this regard, they are trying to establish fixed baselines. The low water mark has been seen as an ambulatory sort of baseline because of the tides, because of the fact that it changes. But in this case, because of the impact of sea level rise, they wanted to be fixed once and for all. Yes, there is a difference between limits and boundaries. Limits are lines at sea that are unilaterally defined by coastal states. We may see internal limits and outer limits. For example, the internal limit of the territorial sea is the so-called baseline, from which the breadth of the territorial sea is measured, and we may say the breadth of any other marine space is measured. And the outer limit of the territorial sea is the one that coincides with the line of up to 12 nautical miles maximum from the baseline. So limits are something that are unilaterally defined by states, while boundaries are lines at sea as well, which must necessarily be the result of an agreement between the opposite or the adjacent state.